Hi, I'm Charlotte Ritchie and I've written a story for Cancer Research UK Kids and Teens Little Book of Big Heroes. Every day, around 11 young people are diagnosed with cancer in the UK. Right now, Cancer Research UK Kids and Teens are looking to find better and kinder treatments that will help them survive and live long and healthy lives. I've written a story called Dear Sam, and it's about a magical cape that appears to children who need it. Are you sitting comfortably? Hi Sam, it's me, Rudy. It was so cool to meet you at hospital today. I hope your first day wasn't too tiring. Just a quick bit of advice, watch out for Dr. Richards. She's really nice, but whenever she comes into the ward, I swear she does about 50 farts. We have bets on to see how many she'll do in a minute. I wanted to write so I could pass along something that helped me out when I was poorly too. It might sound strange, but enclosed in this parcel is a very special cape. It is a superhero cape for superheroes like us. I've worn it every day till now, tied around my neck. Not everybody can see the cape, just people who need it. After talking to you on the ward, I think you might, even just for a little while. When you put it on, you'll see that it's made of suns and moons across a dark sky. It looks like a beautiful galaxy. And at the centre, it gathers into a constellation that spells out a big S for super. I want to give you the cape and tell you a little bit about how it helped me. It came to me the first day the doctor told me I was poorly. I was in bed early and I missed dinner, even though it was spaghetti bolognese, my favourite. I didn't have much appetite and my head was so full of thoughts and feelings it felt like it might fall off. It had been a really confusing day and I didn't feel like talking to my family about it. I didn't want all of these horrible thoughts and feelings. I didn't want to feel scared, I just wanted to feel normal. I was lying in bed when suddenly there was a tap, tap, tap at my window and I looked up to see this cape outside, floating inches away from the window pane. It tapped on the glass with its corners curled up like little hands and then opened the window and flew into my room. At first, it wouldn't let me tie it around my neck. Instead, it soared up above my bed, where it spread out across the ceiling. That night, I slept with a view of the galaxies above me. It took my mind off all the thoughts clouding my brain. The more time I spent bored in bed, at hospital or at home, the more I loved its changing colours and shapes to look up at. On my first day at the doctor's surgery, it came with me and let me tie it around my neck. At the surgery, the doctors and nurses talked to my mum and I found it hard to keep up. The words they used were unfamiliar and I didn't understand why no one was asking me what I thought. I felt more and more tongue-tied and less able to make myself heard. I'm usually really chatty, but everything was so daunting. I thought I should stay quiet and let the grown-ups talk. What if I said the wrong thing? Suddenly, my cape lifted off from around my neck and began to roll itself into a cone shape. The corners became a handle at the bottom of the cone and I grasped it. It was a megaphone. "I don't understand," I said, "and I'm a bit scared." My voice came out loud and clear, booming around the office. The doctors and the nurses stopped talking and my mum looked round at me. They said they were really sorry and began to explain things more clearly. With the help of my cape, I had found the courage to make myself heard. The next time the cape surprised me was a few weeks after that first doctor's appointment. My mum and dad were downstairs, arguing loudly. I think they were finding it hard to juggle all my different appointments as well as look after my brother when I needed someone with me at hospital. I knew it wasn't my fault, but it made me feel sad to hear them stressed. My friend Shauna was round my house too, and I didn't want her to hear my mum and dad. Just as I'd had that thought, the cape loosened from around my neck again and whizzed over to the stereo and used its corner hands to switch it on. Out bled our favourite song. The cape then spread over the floor and began to flash different colours. The music was loud and we began to dance all around the room. I hadn't danced for ages, and although I felt a bit tired and achy, it felt good to groove around and move my body. We were laughing so loudly that my mum and dad came to see what was happening, and before I could explain, they had leapt onto the cape and were dancing too. My dad was dancing just like my granddad, which made us roar with laughter. I'd forgotten how nice it was to be silly. So had they. Laughing and joking just makes me feel 1,000 times better, and I make sure I do it as much as possible now. One day, soon after, when I couldn't dance much and when I had no choice but to be in bed, I was feeling lonely and missing my friends at school. I'd been afraid to talk to them about feeling poorly. I didn't want to make a fuss or single myself out. I didn't want them to think I wasn't brave or that I needed any special treatment. Suddenly, the door opened and in walked all of my best friends, each holding a tiny piece of material with a glowing star constellation on it, each in the shape of a different letter. They said they'd found them in their pigeonholes, and when they put them together, it spelled out, "Visit Rudy." Apparently, they hadn't been sure if I wanted to see them, and they hadn't known if they were allowed to ask about my illness. But that afternoon, we all talked about it for hours. It felt so good to share with my friends. It meant I didn't have to feel so alone with my feelings. Sometimes, though, I didn't feel like seeing anyone. Sometimes I felt too tired or too strange to talk. Whenever that happened, I didn't really feel like being seen by anyone, and so the cape would wrap itself around me to hide me away underneath its dark sky. Inside the cape, lit by stars, I would read my books. No one could see me, and it felt nice to have a den I could hide in. Sometimes I heard my mum and dad come into my room, but they'd leave, knowing I was happy to have some time by myself. The cape let me know it was okay to not always feel like talking to people. The cape even helped the people around me. Sometimes my dad cried and he tried to hide it. On occasions like that, the cape would appear as a sparkly tissue in my hand, and when I gave it to my dad, it made him smile. If my brother felt sad, he never said anything, but I knew when he was, because I would find the cape shining stars on his ceiling instead of mine, and I would sneak into his room and talk about everything with him under the starlight. One day, a couple of months after the cape had first arrived, my mum and I were rushing to get to my appointment at the hospital. It wasn't until I got there that I realised, in the chaos of leaving the house, I'd left the cape behind. At first I was panicked. I didn't know if I could manage without it. But then I breathed, and I thought about what the cape had taught me. I thought of the way it had helped me reach out to my friends and my family. Without speaking, the cape had reassured me that it was okay to feel anything, to ask for anything, and it showed me how helpful it was to share the things I felt with the people around me. I went through the appointment feeling calmer, and knowing I had everything I needed inside me all along. I just had to listen to myself the way the cape had listened to me. So, I wanted to send it to you because I think it will help you out too. I don't think I need it anymore. I used to be scared to say how I felt, but now I'm not. And whenever I close my eyes in bed, I can see the whole universe. Now it's time for you to enjoy that view. Let me know how you get on with it, and I hope you feel better soon. Rudy. If you want to read my story yourself and many others, go to cruk.org/kids and teens. All donations will fund research into cancer that affects children and young people.